Hello and welcome to another edition of the Friday Fun Show. Working title, your guide to Week 10 and perhaps beyond. I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see. It might be a show that is completely rooted in the events of the next 72 hours, or it could be a dissertation on the future of society. I don't know. Midterm elections and all. Dan Hanzus here with Gregg Rosenthal, Marc Sessler, Patrick Claybon. How is everybody in the top quartile of the top quartile?
I like that we got a little Claybon doing It's About Me today. So we might get some hot politics takes.
I'm super nervous.
There is a bit of pressure on you because I feel like you're born for It's About Me, Claybon. But it was like we can't wait it out anymore. We need to turn the entire show over to Patrick and see what comes of it. Thank you to everybody that is live streaming with us right now. We have literally hundreds of people in the top quartile of the top quartile of the top quartile of podcast listeners. So thank you to everybody. This happens every Friday. And coming up on today's show, yes, Patrick Claybon will get something off his chest. Speaking of chest, he's like a Henley pullover that one button was down. A little bit of a show, and I mentioned it, and then he quickly buttoned it up.
Well, the temperature was getting very hot in the pre-show chat between us, and I think it was appropriate for the viewer that Claybon did that, or maybe not. Maybe he needs to go in the opposite direction.
Well, I was trying to match Mark, honestly.
Mark's showing some chest,
a little bit of chest reveal as well. Maybe you guys could join us, right? If you,
I'm
not sure that Friday Fun Show.
Anybody have lettuce here? Anybody have chest hair?
I do. Right? I do. Not like overwhelmingly, but there's some presence.
I don't have the back hair that the rest of the Rosenthal men do, but I do have the chest hair.
Thank God for Emeka.
I always feel like if I'm at the shore and I'm at the beach and I see the guy that is insanely hairy, and I know there are people watching right now that are this way, so I'm not making fun of you, but it just sucks. Like very hairy back, and then there's nothing up top, and it's just like, God, what's up? What are we doing here? You didn't need to do this. I don't know. Anyway, my Irish heritage means I'm basically a wet seal, so I can't really. It's not a great show for me either. Let's get into all of the action. Yes. It's About Me with Claybon. We'll do some listener feedback. We'll have the Week 10 injury minute. We'll make some predictions. But first, let us close the door on the first part of Week 10 Thursday Night Football.
Smith now motions right. The snap. Handoff Foreman running right side. Going downhill. 10-5. Touchdown! Deontay Foreman. Keep trucking.
Wow, Deontay Foreman gets the highlight. All right. Deontay Foreman had a big day, so maybe he deserved it. Going 130 yards and a touchdown in a 25-15 win for the Panthers over the Falcons on a rainy Thursday night in Charlotte. Where to start on this one? First, I'll start here. I locked up the Falcons.
Eesh.
And you know what's annoying? I knew it at the time. There's a trophy right here. It's because I'm good at this. And I made some mistakes. I did not look at the week slate. I just looked at TNF. Never locked TNF. That was mistake number one. It's a weird, funky, silly game. 2, never lock up Marcus Mariota on the road. I did that. Number 3, never lock up Marcus Mariota at home, which he wasn't, but that's just a safeguard. So lesson learned for the old Zeuser, who's going to make things a little more competitive or interesting in the locks challenge now that I've given you guys a game.
I mean, Dan,
you're not even leading.
Hold on one second.
Make it more competitive. You're up by 1, right?
I housed you last year, Greg, and I was in first place before Thursday night, so I've made things a little more challenging. So
you're tied. Just saying. Mark made an excellent move to jump out of the Falcons.
I mean, I do wonder, mystically, Dan, had I kept the Falcons as my lock and the Lock brothers, which are really an impenetrable solar force, had I kept my lock, would the Falcons have just won? I might have caused the loss for you, which I apologize.
No, that's a good call. But I think what I should have done, and hindsight is 2020, once you did it as the Lock brother,
you get out.
That should have been my message. I got to get out as well. Yep. Again, you learn lessons in this life, and hopefully you get better as a person and as a game picker. All right, let's get to the game. sloppy. Also, another rule is when there's a tropical storm pounding the region where the stadium is, just get out of that as well. But the Panthers did a nice job bouncing back here, Greg, from a game where last week they're down 42-0 in the third quarter. So getting a W, you get some dignity back in the locker room, and in general, you stick it to a division rival. And not for nothing, kind of stay on the periphery of the division race. What a year in the NFC South.
Right. If the games go on Sunday, as I personally expect, which would be a Seahawks win in Germany and a Saints loss in Pittsburgh, or a Saints win, it wouldn't matter. The Panthers are only one game out of first with 3 division wins. They felt confident, I think, because they pushed around the Falcons just 2 weeks ago. It's a division game where they outplayed the Falcons in Atlanta because they could run on the Falcons. And I think they see the Falcons running attack so much, they're a little more prepared for it. The Falcons are one of those teams, I think, that are tough to prepare for, but they know what they're about after playing against Arthur Smith with this defense for a while. And they stuffed the Falcons running game early, and they made Mariota have to be a drop back passer a handful of times. And you got the bad Mariota game. Half the weeks this season, I'd say he's a huge part of their great running game, and it's almost built around him, and he's good with all the ball fakes, and he makes just enough good decisions with the ball throwing that it all is fine. It's play action. He's protected. The other half, he looks terrible. And this was that other half, maybe the worst game I've seen out of him. The box score didn't really say it, but they could have had 3 or 4 interceptions on him.
I mean, it reminds me what Carolina did against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that sort of surprising result where they ran all over them. I thought they looked at the Falcons and said, like a friend to a friend, like, can I try your dress on? They just played the Atlanta's offense and stuck it to him. And I thought it was a weird night for Arthur Smith, who I've been a fan of, and I enjoy what he's done with lesser parts in general. But at one, I think it was their third drive. They come out kind of throwing the ball in rain in this hideous weather more than you'd expect. And on the third drive, they're stuck in right near their own goal line and run the ball 3 times inside their own 10 and punt the ball away. It's like, what happened to the creativity? Cordell Patterson wasn't used very much. Again, it's like, I just look at the Falcons and they have been frisky. I don't know if they qualify for that now at this point, but Mariota and it's his killer mistakes. He does a couple things well, but I wonder what the conversation inside that building is about. When do we find it appropriate or necessary to insert Desmond Ridder? Or what do they know about Desmond Ridder in practice that says, we're not ready to do that yet because of what we do know? But it's like all the reports on him in the preseason where he's smart. He's really good with the offense. He knows the playbook. Like, do you make the switch just to see what you have?
And honestly, Mark, because immediately after the game, the question was asked to Arthur Smith, and it was a fast no, like a fast and decisive no on the quarterback change. And, we don't know because we're watching on TV. He's standing there in the rain. But did you guys not feel the frustration in the play calling from Arthur Smith, especially on the heels of an 8-play, 92-yard drive where Marcus Mariota has the touchdown pass, they pull within the score, and then they come right back out on first down on this opportunity for the Marcus Mariota TNF legacy drive, and they have this first down run, and it's miserable, and then Mariota's trying to navigate the pocket under pressure, and there's a holding penalty, and then that happens. The team was in absolute hell on that most important drive of the game. And you kind of left wondering, what does this offense do? Like, what's the plan? What do they hope to accomplish? And it's just a lot of question marks after just a nasty game.
I like this from
offense.
Billy G. Kyle Pitts is stuck in that jail cell with Mark. Yeah, I think he had 2 catches and 8-9 targets and gets wide open all the time. This is not a Kyle Pitts is a bust situation. This is a quarterback can't shoot straight situation. And heading into this game, we were coming off the Sunday game where Mariota was missing throws all game. And it was just like, my God, like you just got the vibe watching Arthur Smith on that sideline. Like he's probably going to be ready to move on after this year. So after watching this game on top of it, that's too rough, game tape days for Mariota. And you just wonder if you should take anything out of what Smith says immediately after the game. He's trying to keep things under control, but at the same time, I don't think there's, to me, any question that Mariota is not the future. Is Desmond Ridder the future? I don't know. Maybe not, but I think there are 1 or 2 losses away, and they're coming with Mariota cratering like this from it being a no-brainer to turn it over to the kid, and then you get a look at him before you make your decision in the offseason. I think to me, it's just inevitable at this point.
Yeah, they're trying to make the playoffs too, and if Mariota's making rookie mistakes, and it's not like he's winning from, above the neck in terms of like making all the right decisions. That's probably been his biggest problem this year. Then why not try out the kid? I mean, PJ Walker wasn't much better. He made a few good throws. He tried to throw the ball away a couple times when Steve Wilkes surprisingly let him try to win it with his arms on a few 3rd and longs late in the game, and neither team could catch an interception. But I like that we got D'Onta Foreman at the beginning because he was awesome throughout. And you look at their running attack since Wilkes has taken over, their 3 best rushing days, all 169 yards and over, have happened in the last 4 weeks since they've traded Christian McCaffrey. Like, running backs are important. I think that gets a little overrated. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey is better, but it's also no question that they've become a much better running team, partly because of the opponents, partly because they're just getting better. But since they've traded Christian McCaffrey, I don't think they're going to get back in this race. But this is one of the worst divisions I've ever seen. It's right there with the Panthers division when they had a losing record, and the Panthers rallied at the very last second.
I think they went 7-8-1 or something like that, right, and then played the Cardinals in the playoffs.
I think that's happening. I don't think the Panthers are going to be the one to take it, but I think a losing record wins this division.
Is there a weirder quarterback room that you can remember during the run of this show than PJ Walker starting while 2 first-round draft picks, including a 1st overall pick, sit on the bench? I think because they just think PJ Walker fits this setup better.
It's a good call. And it's also, Mayfield stays in the headlines by headbutting teammates with his cap on, which, he's got to do something at this point. It just shows they're so adrift in their quarterback room. But both these teams, I mean, this is going to be, I think, a division, and you could look at the Saints as well, perhaps here, and maybe even the Bucks, where we could have a major facelift at the most important position, because I think this doesn't go across the board with this division, because I don't think Brady's solely to blame for their issues over there. But the quarterback play, I think, is a big reason why this division is so bad. And that play that Mariota, that's the legacy play for Mariota, the play in the second half near midfield where he's spinning down and his butt hits the turf, but he still throws it up for grabs and it's intercepted and he gets saved because his butt cheeks hit the turf. It was like, at that point, I don't know how Arthur Smith watches the tape and says that this is the guy I'm going to ride or die with for the rest of the season. He just looks like a dude that's hit his expiration date to me.
I have a sandwich bet for you guys.
Oh, let's get it.
Whoever wins this division, they go into the playoffs as the obvious underdog, but they will be playing at home. I'm telling you now, whoever wins this division convincingly wins their playoff game.
Convincingly.
Well, all right. I'm going to say they
put a number on it.
No, I'm just going to say they flat out win their playoff game against a heavy favorite.
I would say I would take you on it, but this is a weird year, and I'm thinking out loud right now. So they would be the lowest seeded division winner. They would get the top seeded wild card, right? So they would get, let's say, the Giants in their building.
Or the Cowboys.
I mean, if they get the Cowboys, I think they're cooked. But I mean, if they get the Giants or another kind of funky team that you could see falling on its face on the road, I'm actually not going to take you on it. The league's too weird this year.
Just so I can get in on a sandwich prop, I will take you on it because I see a chance the Vikings lose a couple games and you could get Kirk Cousins against Tom Brady at home.
Right. I actually don't like the odds are the Bucks win this division, and then if they're at home, they're probably favored or close in that game almost no matter who they're playing. But I'm going to take you just for the fun of it.
I know I'm going to lose,
ridiculous fun,
but I just want to be involved in a sandwich prop, and I just want to buy you a sandwich.
I like the spirit of this.
That's very nice of you. Plus the huddle here, the food's free, so like that's an easy one as well. All right,
it can't be from the huddle. We need to make a rule.
That's
it
important.
Is not the cold, ham and cheese.
Any other thoughts on this game before we move on?
One quick one, which is that Derek Brown has made himself more money this year than almost any player. A top 10 pick that was kind of seen as a bust coming into this year and has been one of the best nose tackle, defensive tackles in the league. They'll pick up his 5th-year option, guarantee him $10+ million for 2024, and then he'll make a monster contract. And he kind of came out of nowhere. He was looking at it like a bust.
And I was going to say Arthur Smith might be a believer in the whole playing a rookie quarterback too early thing, and that might be why we're not seeing Desmond Ridder.
Mark, what is the food in the local penitentiary that you're imprisoned in?
I mean, I am attempting to convince you that it's not a penitentiary. How do I see you in the studio 3 times a week, and then I'm shuffled back to this like high level? So it's a sort of a
3 words:
prison?
work release program.
Yeah.
All right,
free Mark.
All right. Well, the food is fine. It's only one day a week. I have to deal with it.
It's like a new volunteer prison where they simulate what prison is like for people who want that feeling.
Yeah, we established on last week's Friday Fun show that it's one of those country club, Greenwich, Connecticut type reform homes more than it's state lockup. You're not in Rikers.
Like insider traders and like
tennis involved.
Read large novels, lift weights, be comforted.
Oh, Fine. You'll be comforted. All right. All right. Let's move on. Let's check in with the listeners. Anything you got? Hey, where's Gravedigger? I want to say hi to Gravedigger. Gravedigger,
Dan.
How are you, buddy? Somebody
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Somebody tweeted at me earlier today, or maybe the whole group, that we've been, riding you a little bit in recent episodes. Do you sense that? And if you do, I want to preemptively apologize for Mark. But it's all in good fun, and we love you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Mark. No, I feel like we're just bantering.
Mark just flipped double birds from prison, which feels right. You feel good about it. You're okay though. You're in a good place.
Yeah, I don't feel animosity between us.
Okay.
I think we're all doing well.
I'm always.
This is why you got to watch
Justin.
the Friday Fun Show live, because you can get stuff before they're blurred out.
Are we gonna have to blur that? Or
no, somebody will grab that, I'm sure, and it will be up on Twitter if you're listening.
Sorry, Mark, for cutting you off. What were you gonna say?
No, it's like I feel that I adequately assess Justin's work, and he's done a very good job most of the time.
Ooh, he was about to say excellent, and then he downgraded it to very good.
I enjoy his presence.
There's something there. I don't know what it is, but we're going to get to the bottom of it by the end of the season. What do we got, Justin, from the listeners/viewers?
All right, this is a fun one for Dan and maybe Greg to answer. Two-part question.
Go ahead, buddy.
Is Geno Smith the best player the Jets have drafted in the past 15 years? How far could this Jets team go with 2022 Geno at QB?
Well, I don't hate on Sam Green because I get it. He's trying to get a rise out of me. I don't think any Jets fan is thinking right now, man, if only we had Geno. That ship sailed so long ago. It's like feels like another generation ago. He got drafted by the Jets before this podcast started. So Greg doesn't believe it. I'm fine with Geno having a nice season. I don't want him to have a good game against the Jets.
I don't believe that. You guys were rooting so hard. Why even pretend it? You would be loving it if he was.
Greg, you're missing. Now. You've always missed the point with this. I've never been rooting against Geno. He's rooting against you. So
that's what I mean. But it's at this point, it's like the same.
There's nothing personal for me with Geno Smith. This version of Geno would be a huge upgrade over Zach Wilson, by the way. So those are two. I don't live in a world where I wish Geno was my quarterback, but you can't hide from the fact that Geno's having a great year. And if you combined him with the Jets team as a whole, they'd be better. So there you go.
I'm trying to think of who's been a decent draft pick by the Jets over the last decade. Everyone I was coming up with, it just fought.
Yeah, that's this year's draft.
Quinnen Williams?
Yeah, Quinnen Williams.
Jamal Adams.
I was thinking
Adams?
More like further back, but you're right.
Hall?
Because they had a great little run from like 07 to 11. If they had Geno this year in an offense which isn't dissimilar from the one Seattle runs, I think they'd have a chance to make the Super Bowl. It'd be harder in the AFC, but I think they'd have a chance to make the Super Bowl. And it has felt personal, Dan, sometimes over the years, because like the whole thing with him getting punched in the face was I felt like painted as like, well, this guy is kind of obnoxious. And I think that was the thing that got the Geno supporters most upset. Like somehow that was
the
on
Geno
him.
supporter. Well, the only reason I've ever given Geno crap about that was it sounded like he was being a dick to a teammate. Like he stiffed the guy, a no-name player, on a $600 flight after he blew off that guy's camp for children in Texas. And when the guy that was not even a guaranteed salary dude was like, hey man, can you pay me back for the flight or half the flight? He kept on like brushing him off and kind of laughing him off. And then the guy did the wrong thing, IK and Polly, and
but those aren't like those aren't like a both sides things where they're equal to me, or that they're like it's worth
Greg, you know what? You're the morality police here. That's fine, but that was the wrong thing for Geno Smith to do.
He was assaulted and he had to miss games.
Right.
No, I'm not
like
saying
ruined his career.
This is such a stupid conversation. IK and Polly was an asshole for what he did, obviously, But it's not that Geno, and I'm not saying Geno Smith deserved it, but you can't just view it in a vacuum as he was an innocent man that got clocked in the face. He was being a dick, and sometimes when you're a dick, you get popped in the mouth. That's what happened to him.
Good question, Samuel Green.
Yeah,
Sam bringing it.
What else we got?
All right, let's stick with a quarterback discussion here. Daniel Black wants to know, has Burrow elevated above the Tua Herbert debate? Elevated
Claybon.
above? I feel like he's always been above. But...
I mean, why is this debate? They can all be good. like they can all be good. The fact that like some people are going to question either quarterback, some people of course are going to question Joe Burrow and managing the pocket and taking sacks and all this. I think all of these guys are good. I think football itself and football discourse can elevate above like, oh, this guy. I know like we rank quarterbacks and that's something that we do and it's a fun discussion. But like we don't have to pit these guys against each other. Like to take one, if one goes up, another doesn't have to go down. I think Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert are going to be starters in the league for the next 10 to 12 years. Sometimes they're going to win, sometimes they're going to lose. They're going to do it differently. It's not. I hope people don't think I'm fence sitting to say this, but I think they're all good. I think they're all good. They're all good in different ways.
That's part of the reason I love you, Claybon, is that you just look at things from a different perspective than a typical sports fan. I think for me, it's like it's fun to debate who's better than who. But when you look at it from that lens, it's like it's true. You don't have to decide this guy's better and that makes this guy worse. And that's why I'm looking so forward to what's about to happen in a couple of minutes. It's about me with Patrick Claybon. What else we got?
All right, let's do one more quarterback question. Becca Roby wants to know, how quickly do you think the Lions are looking for a new quarterback? Think they will stick with Goff for another year? Love all of your work, gentlemen.
I don't think that, I think that they've set their whole world up collecting draft picks. The whole Goff switch and the whole Stafford thing was to eventually get another quarterback. He's the dictionary definition of a placeholder. And I mean, he's sort of fine. He's sort of Dalton line-ish to me on some level. And I think that there's a better draft coming up. If Detroit's not looking at starting with a new young quarterback, I'm not quite sure what they're doing.
He gone. I mean, there's no chance. They've actually put themselves in the position that they tried not to be in initially, which is like, well, we don't have to take a quarterback. We need to take time because we need to build up the rest of the team first. And that's fine. They didn't fall in love with any quarterbacks available to them in the last two drafts. But this season, they're stuck in the place where they have to. They can't go into next season with Jared Goff, assuming the coaching staff's even there next year, which I'm not totally assuming, but I think is likely. They absolutely have to do whatever they can to get him.
Yeah. The British Knights cut you off there, Greggy.
I was ending it. It's all good.
Apologies. They're very regal, but they're also very conscious of time, apparently.
Yeah, they have someone whipping them behind the scenes.
All right, it is time now. Yes, a much long-awaited contribution from Patrick Claybon on the segment we like to call in honor of the Great Coast Wrestling. It's about me. All right, hit it, Patrick.
Oh, it's about me. This is cool. It's also cool that I can look down at YouTube and see instant reaction from people all over the world while we do this, because that ability hasn't always been available to us. So while it's still around, I would like to shout out social media website, twitter.com. Like anything involving people, it can have an extraordinary set of problems because people have problems, some of them more than others. But one thing it fundamentally changed for me and for millions of other people around 16 years ago, it changed the way we watch and consume sports. And that was with each other digitally. I can think back to all these moments. Ray Allen in the corner, a season-changing field goal, hitting not one but two posts, the lights going out in New Orleans, watching the phrase orchestrate a murderous coup at a wedding. I think about how I went a decade without watching wrestling, but I knew the second that Taker's streak at WrestleMania came to an end. I just, none of these things that we shared was a corporation. None of that was gifted to us by a billionaire. That was us. We invented the quote tweet, the subtweet, the modified tweet, entire genres of communication and jokes birthed by us just being in the same place, sharing the same moments. And so this place where I've strengthened my relationships with all of my coworkers who can understand me because of this website, the place where I met my wife, the place where we go to be angry and happy and everything in between. I'm not saying this because the URL is in danger from some talentless fraud. I'm saying this because I love what we were able to accomplish and what we were able to make together. And when and if the opportunity presents itself, we will be able to do it again. That's it.
Hear, hear. That's great. I love that, Patrick. And it makes me think also, like, for me, in my sports fandom, moving across the country, and I wish I could watch games with my friends and my dad and my brother. And Twitter for me has been like a companion as well, where I get to share opinions, also hear other takes. Like that, it really has changed the sports fandom experience to such a positive degree. So it is worrisome and a little bit annoying that billionaires, as they tend to do, are trying to ruin a good thing.
When you were talking, I thought to myself, you mentioned, you've made friends, you got to know coworkers, you met your wife on Twitter. That's pretty incredible. I became friends with Wes on Twitter like a year and a half before he came to the NFL, and we had tweeted back and forth about things that annoyed us, about books that we love. Fred Exley's fan notes, which he's shared with you guys, like notably. And I was like, I don't know what Chris looks like, or I've never seen him on a video thing because there was no Chris video back then. He didn't do that stuff. And I just got to know him through words and through writing. And so for me, I can get real cynical about what Twitter is, but that's the high point. I also can think of about maybe 180 tweets that I've sent out over the last 10 years that I kind of wish I didn't. So there's that's element of, that's the low ebb of it. Yes. But it is a powerful venue.
I love that the YouTube comments, I jumped in there, was reading them live, had a few myself. We're expecting like a takedown of what's going on Twitter, but I think Claybon reminded us of all of our better selves. He was like Jeff Saturday is going to be on Sunday in that locker room when everyone's expecting it to go poorly, and he's going to make us want to run through a brick wall for Twitter. Twitter survives.
Are you picking the Colts, Greg?
I don't know. maybe Mark's rubbing off on me.
I'm very pro Colts on Sunday. I cannot wait to see what happens.
Sundays with Saturday is pretty fun.
Yeah. I just want to add to all of this discussion that I wouldn't even have this job if it weren't for Twitter. I became friends with the social media manager of the Tennessee Titans. He sent my resume to the NFL. Like this wouldn't even be happening right now if it wasn't for Twitter. So
is that a pro or a con?
That's a pro.
No, I just Twitter. A pro. I'm Justin. I adore you and think that you're wonderful at your job, and I'm glad that Twitter exists so that you exist in our lives, in our fold. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. That'll be a drop.
That was weird. Good stuff. All right, it's time now, and I crowdsourced it this week with our amazing listeners. What is Acrisure? It is time now for the Gregg Rosenthal Week 10 Injury Minute, presented by Acrisure, safety nets for circus acrobats. Acrisure, nailed it.
Again, this is injury news as of 1:30 Eastern time. Do check your latest injury report later in the day. In David Njoku and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah both out for the Browns. Denzel Ward, as Mark mentioned, will be back this week. Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow were both placed on injured reserve Thursday. Good luck, Raiders. Jonathan Taylor is practicing and is likely back. Josh Allen didn't practice all week. You might know his status by the time you hear this, but it's not looking good. Jordan Poyer is also out. Kenny Galladay's back. Ezekiel Elliott's back. Antoine Winfield is back. Justin Gage is out, or Russell Gage rather, for the Bucs. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen have not practiced as of this taping. Matthew Stafford has not practiced. It's looking like Johnny Walford, although maybe they'll mix in a little Bryce Hopkins. Ryan Tannehill is limited and does seem to be practicing more, trending towards a return, but I'm not going out on a limb like Graver there. Justin Verrett, very disappointingly, is out for the season after tearing his Achilles. That is disappointing. My guy, Pete Warner, looks like he's going to miss for a very banged-up Saints team. KJ Hamler got hurt in Germany and won't play this week. And Eric Stokes is going to be out for the Packers. Shaq Leonard, by the way, has suffered an injury, or at least just isn't getting over that injury. It's kind of been a quiet part of this Colts season. He's not looked the same at all, and he is back to being out.
And let me go out on a limb on that one. Little postscript that the owner is not rushing Shaq Leonard back to action.
Well, he's been playing, and it's awkward, but he's probably been their worst player, and has been a big problem for the defense. And
see you in July.
It's too bad. Yeah.
Interesting. Sundays and Saturday.
Did you say KJ Hamler was in Germany?
Did I? That was a brain fart. I should not have said that.
But Greg, that would keep him out of the game, so that's possibly true.
Good correction. He's definitely not in Germany. I mixed up like the old Russell Wilson team and the one he's playing.
Anything else, Gravedigger, from the listeners before we get to our fearless predictions?
Oh,
thank you,
gosh.
Brian, by the way.
No.
I catch flat-footed. It's fine.
Oh, come on. There's a million great ones. I'm just looking at stream through. You can pick them all.
Pick one.
It's tough. It's tough.
I don't know how to do it.
All right, Jim W. Will the league shift their head coach criteria if Jeff Saturday is a successful coach? Oh, I see what you're saying. So to hire
yes. What is more copycat than like Coach Sean McVay, boy wonder, succeeds? So we're gonna hire 12 other boy wonders. And 4 of them,
but at
maybe
least he was in
succeed.
like the world of NFL coaching. That I don't know if a copycat scenario presents itself here, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, the copycat is the owners get to do whatever they want. So
right, it depends if he becomes their head coach. And Jim Irsay did kind of indicate that it could be something beyond this year. Maybe it'd be something to do with an interim. I mean, interim coaches. What does it really matter? And on some level, you kind of keep the coaching staff in the same spots that they were in. But if they actually give them the real job next year, that's a little different.
All right. What else we got here? AW, please take my wife out to dinner. Pat. Wow. Cuck scenario.
That's for you to do, AW. But I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for everybody.
AW is not quite understanding how marriage works apparently here, but
well, he has a different viewpoint on it.
Sure, that's fine.
Peter R. Point of view. You're a good head coach who is available. Which hot seat most interests you? Oh, I like this one.
The Arizona Cardinals. Although I would love it if there was a different GM there.
What?
Because Kyler Murray is their quarterback. I would like to work with him. And watching Cliff Kingsbury try to rally the troops and just thinking of the veterans that have been in that locker room for 3 years and what they're thinking when he speaks to them. I think that place is due for a coach that looks good replacing Cliff.
I don't think that Kyler is the problem there, but I don't know if he's the solution either. I don't know.
I might go Detroit.
I'm going right here in Southern California. And
Chargers.
Well, that's a good point. I guess
that's the winner. Claybon's on fire right now. One more. Fry Farms. At the halfway point of the season, is Kirk Cousins still the prime meridian? Is he the Dalton line for quarterbacks?
No, it's better.
But he kind of goes up and down. He just hasn't come down.
But
yet.
What's the prime meridian right now is like of this season. Like I think he's playing above Kirk Cousins levels for the most part.
I think he's a unique player because I think he's been above the prime meridian this whole time. That's the whole idea. We've never put him up as the Dalton scale. He's just this weird spot where he's like 12th always or 13th. And that's not the middle. That's why he's getting all that guaranteed money. He's like slightly better.
Wait, who did we
average.
come down on? It was a car?
Was it Tannehill?
Well, there was a Tannehill
car.
What? I don't think so.
Isn't that crazy?
Help us out in the comment section.
Carr feels perfect because Carr's back to sinking because of what's going on around him, but he's fine. It's like he's not the solution. He's not the problem.
Yeah, I think we talked about that in the episode, that the fact that Cousins keeps getting gobs of money he is such a kind of a unique dude that nobody knows what to do with him. So you just keep giving him all this money, but he also is, like Greg says, not a top 10 quarterback, but he's also not a bottom 16. He's got a nice spot. All right. Anyway, let's move now to fearless predictions. What did we have last week, Mr. Grave Digger?
We had a bunch of predictions that went awry. Mark had 4 on his own. Mark said the Titans will beat the Chiefs by 10 plus points. That did not.
Whoa, that was looking good for a minute.
Yep. Yeah, for a second. If Tannehill played, that could have happened. Dan will turn full villain on Zach Wilson by sundown on Sunday. Okay, that's enough of that.
It's got a mind of its own.
I am not full villain. Zach.
No, Zach Wilson beat the Bills, so he's
some doubt there still, though.
Greg will eat cottage cheese at some point during the weekend. I actually don't know if Mark was correct about this or not.
What happened
Greg?
with that, Greg?
It's been months. It's been months at least.
And also, Mark said that Rachel will hike Runyon Canyon and encounter Diego Luna, and then went off on a big, long, fantastical tangent. I don't think any of that happened because Rachel flew to Munich before that could happen. Okay, Greg said the Falcons would rush for 217 plus yards against the Chargers, but the committee would still have no ruling on Mark's guy, Tyler Algier. That was close, Greg. The Falcons rushed for 201 yards, but they lost.
And you're certainly right about the second part. We're still 3 to 4 weeks in terms of the processing time.
I mean, Algier had 3 catches for negative 17 yards last night, so I don't know what the big competition for the guy is thing here.
He is part of a 5-man running back committee. I've never seen such a big committee.
Also, it's a holiday weekend, so you know how that backs up paperwork. So I think we're back up to 4 to 6. Okay, what else?
Dan said the Chargers would lose to the Falcons because the Chargers are the Dalton scale of teams. You're correct about the Chargers being the Dalton scale of teams, but incorrect in the prediction about the Falcons.
What a clown show, the Falcons just banging me over and over again. Faux feisty, faux spicy.
Yeah, they've lost it, by the way. They are no longer spicy. They're no longer
I'm sick of hearing
spicy.
that. They are who they are.
And finally, Rachel, with the only correct prediction, said that Aaron Rodgers would lose to the Lions, although she also said he would burn sage on the field, which I think that part
We'll give it to her.
We don't know.
We don't know that. We'll have to follow that up. All right. I'll go first with a prediction. Very straightforward. We talked about it on the Thursday show. The Rams are in the worst way. Who do they have again this week?
Cardinals.
The Rams in the worst way need one of their stars to win a game. And Aaron Donald, who's had a quiet season, I'm not blaming it on Aaron Donald because there's all sorts of issues with that team, but he has not had the year you expect, at least statistically. That changes. He's going to have multiple sacks and force a turnover, be a star of this game in a big Rams win.
Like that.
It's good.
All right, Mark. Oh, no, we're going to save Mark because this is all just the build up to Mark at this point. Greg?
Okay. My favorite moment, or one of my favorite moments, I shouldn't say my favorite, but one of my favorite moments of our live show in London is when a listener came after me for talking too much about Gino, and then the rest of the crowd rallied behind me and started chanting Gino. Well, that won't be the only international chant of Gino this year. The German fans at some point will be chanting Gino, Gino, Gino when the Seahawks take down the Bucs.
All right. So they have to chant Gino and they need to win.
They need to win too. And by the way, we might have another live show coming up in the Los Angeles area.
Oh, the
January.
homecoming
little tease
show.
there. Let's just put a little tease there. A little tease there for the local
info.
Got to get Claybon in the mix on that one. Patrick.
I'm also going to go super simple, mainly because I'm over on the season on predictions here on the Friday Fun Show.
It's hard. No, you got it last week.
Oh, I did? No, 2 weeks ago. Either way.
You did 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Go ahead.
It feels like I am. 47 points. More than 47 points will be scored in Santa Clara on Sunday. The arrival of Christian McCaffrey has awoken something within Kyle Shanahan. Also, they got a bunch of guys back on offense. The 49ers and Chargers will score a lot of points. Almost 50.
Yes, Claybon, you said the Giants would score under 21 against the Seahawks, and you were correct.
Look at that.
Okay.
Winning streak.
Well, so this feels, close to a Claybon Rainmaker, essentially. We'll need to workshop the name.
You may hear it again today, Greg.
And Patrick, don't rule out the possibility that you hit on this one too, because after the Giants prediction, you do have some momentum.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
All right, Mark, close it out.
Okay, it is a swift 3-parter. One.
It will not be swift.
Well, it will be. One, a player is forcefully kicked by someone. And Dan, I know that you and I were working together during this. I'm thinking of the Ndamukong Suh, Matt Schaub Thanksgiving incident. Something on that level will occur.
As if working on Thanksgiving doesn't suck enough. Then you have the star of the Lions kicking a guy in the nards.
Oh,
that was great.
Yeah, I had to take a plane that day out of LAX, and I was assigned to that game, and there were like 18 spinoff posts. It's like, come on, football gods. You are already annoying. Part 2, Tony Romo starts weeping out of happiness and a boy-like excitement, and then starts speaking in tongues after a particularly elite Patrick Mahomes touchdown pass. They quickly cut to commercial break. 3.
Just stop there. You can't top that. That's your best one all year. I love that.
You know what? I'm starting to think, because I think we all get the vibe that maybe Tony's not working quite as hard as before he got the bag. That he's just doing these games because he doesn't need to do really any studying at this point on Mahomes, because he's called almost every one of his games in the last 5 years.
Right. Just play the hits. I'm with you on that analysis. The third one, in Germany, Colleen or Rachel will get a selfie with Tom Brady before the weekend wraps.
Ooh, that's good. I could see that.
He's kind of kept in shrink wrap on. I don't know if that's going to be
so.
It
would be so. It's not a home run. It's not an easy prediction. It's
you're a man of integrity,
scenario.
And that's why I think you should be free. Free Sessler. Free Sessler.
Free.
All right.
Wait, do they have to both get a selfie with him? Or?
No, one or the other.
Okay.
It's got to be a friend of the show. That's the only 2 friends of the show that I truly know. Well, I guess the Good Morning Football crew is over there.
Ooh, shots fired to them.
No, I was trying to think of like people that come on our show all the time, and Colleen and Rachel.
Joe Thomas just heard this and was like, "Oh, what the heck, Mark? I thought we had a bond. You know, you're a Browns fan."
I love everyone who's over there with the deepest part of my heart.
Rich Eisen's like, I started this network. You don't like me? Come on.
Such a missed opportunity there, Mark, to lob the grenade back. Say, oh, Peter, Devin, all the guys.
I'm not looking to create problems.
All right. Thank you to everybody for listening. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the football on Sunday. We'll be back with the flagship program. Till then, free Marc Sessler and heed the call.
Who's down?